Hi everyone, today we're going to learn how to play Walk This Way by Aerosmith, and it sounds like this. My name's Ollie from Your Guitar Academy, and in this Walk This Way guitar lesson we're going to look at the chords and the riffs you're going to need to be able to play this song. Before we get started, don't forget to check out the description below for a link to our website where there's going to be a full write-up with all the technique and the details you're going to need. And please subscribe to our channel and like this video to check out more of this kind of stuff. So let's get started with that iconic riff. All right, so it's all kind of based around this sort of open E minor sort of position, but if we just look at the frets, because there is a chromatic run in this. All right, so we're starting on the open A string, and then it's first fret on the A string, second fret. Okay, so you're getting that chromatic run up there, and then up to the second fret on the D string. And it does that twice. And then it's an E, open E string. And this whole time throughout, you can do a little bit of palm muting just to make it a little bit more sort of bitey. Okay? And then after it's done it a couple of times, we get the sort of turnaround part of it. So basically what it's doing is it's coming down to a G, which is third fret on the low E string, and then up to the E, which is second fret on the D string. And there's slight variations of this as it goes through the song. So before we get around to those little variations, let's just make sure we've got the first part, the main sort of part of it down. So it's 0 on the A, 1, 2, and then 2 on the E string, D string, sorry. And I'm trying to pick all of those notes. So I'm using alternate picking, down, up, down. I'm doing down, up, up. And then down on that E string. Okay, so I'll play that nice and slow, close up, and then we'll look at these variations. So it's... And notice I'm using my middle finger for the second fret on both strings. So when I'm playing it at speed, I'm actually flattening that finger there. You can see that, just to get to the D string without having to sort of come off, because that takes too long. So if that's the way you want to do it fast, which I would recommend, then practice that slowly first. Don't sort of do it slow differently to how you want to do it fast. So you're not going to go... You want to practice exactly the same way, slow as you would fast. Okay, so now we've got the main part of that down. Let's just look at these little variations that come in. It's just both those two really. It's coming from the G, which is on that third fret of the E string, back up to the E, which is here we're playing second fret on the D string. So we're either going to go... So we do a low E, and then we do a quick G note here, third fret, pull off to the open E, low E string, and then up to the E, second fret on the D string. So we're going to go, get that close so you can see it, it's third fret, pull off to open, and then second fret on the D string. Okay, so that's the rhythm. I'll play that a couple more times, then we'll look at the other way. Okay, and then the other way sounds like this. Sorry, that's it there. So basically all we're doing there is we're not playing that low E first, we're just going straight to the 3rd fret on the E string and still doing that pull off and then coming up to the 2nd fret on the D. So we get, and this time that pull off is really subtle, almost not there. That's the sort of rhythm we're going for, and then you can just make the pull off just a very, very quick note after that. Get it nice and close, you can see what I'm doing. All right, so that's the main riff of this song. I should mention that I'm looking at the original version of this because that's got a little bit more guitar parts in there. Okay. So yeah, check that out, that's the Aerosmith one. The Run DMC one's super cool as well, but I just had to pick one, so I've gone for this one. Okay, so now we're going to look at the verse part. So to get to the verse, we're coming from here. We're doing an A chord instead of an E. So we're doing an A, and there's a little kind of sliding up just to the position where we're going to be playing the rest of this. So that's that part, and then we're coming up, we're in a C chord here really, or a C power chord, like this is sort of a bluesy sort of riff thing happening. So that is 8th fret on the E string with your index finger. Now I think I'm going to recommend using middle finger here on the 10th fret, because that's going to allow your little finger to get up to the 12th fret and even the 13th. Okay, if you're trying to do it with your third finger here, it's all right, but then it means your little finger's doing an extra stretch. All right, so I'm going to use my index finger, middle finger, and little finger for this. So index finger on 8 on the E string, middle finger on 10 on the A, and then little finger is going between 12 and 13 on the A. Okay, so that's the main positions we're going to be. And then the verse part proper sounds like this. Okay, so it's a little bit swung there. It's like, instead of, you hear it's got a bit of sort of a jump, bit of liveliness to it. So that's actually going to make this much harder to play. If you're used to playing stuff that's quite fast like this really, if you're used to playing that straight, this is going to be quite a lot harder. So I'd recommend just getting the notes onto your fingers first, playing it straight, and then moving to swung, okay? So let's look at the notes in it. We'll just get that part first. So it's down, up on the C note here, which is 8th fret on the E string. And then after that, we've got 10th fret on the A, and then back to the C, which is 8th fret on the E string. And then we're doing the A string 12th fret with our little finger and a pull off down to the 10th fret, which your middle finger is holding already. So, all right, so we'll get nice and close for that. So practice that on its own first. Okay, just keep that going. Okay, and after that we've got so we're coming up a little bit and then running down again. So next note is 8th fret on the E string again, that's C. And then we're playing the 10th fret on the D string. And then we're going back to the root note, which is the 8th fret on the E string. Okay. And then we're coming up to 13th fret on the A string. And then it's a pull off to the 10th fret on the A string. So, and then come down to the 12th fret on the A string with your little finger. And another pull off again to that 10th fret. get nice and close there. So it's root note here. That's on the 8th fret, sorry, and then 10th fret on the D string, and then root note again, and then 13th fret with your little finger, pull off to that 10th fret, 12th fret with your little finger, pull off to that 10th fret again. Okay, so what I'll do now is I'll play that around a couple of times, quite slowly. I'll play it around a few times actually, slowly, just so you can get a feel for the rhythm of it, and then I'll speed it up again. Okay, so this is going to be this verse riff, nice and slow. I'm going to play it straight as well. So I'm going to do it 1 and 2 instead of 1 and 2 and 3. So it's not going to be swung, because I think that's going to be easier to begin with to get it under your fingers. Okay, so for me that's the hardest part of this song, just because it's got quite a lot of stretching and it's quite fast picking, and there's a bit of jumping around as well. And that's even before you introduce the swung part of it. So the swung, it's going to sound like this. Okay, so there's a little bit more sort of bounce to it really. I would just recommend playing it nice and slow, straight to begin with. Just get comfortable with it so that you can play it without having to sort of remember where each next note is. Just get that into your muscle memory first, and then you can work on speeding it up, and then you can work on swinging it as well. Okay, so after that, we've got the next section that we're going to learn is the chorus, which sounds like this. Okay, and there's also this sort of lead part as well, which kind of comes between. So you could do it on one guitar, but if you've got two guitarists in your band, for example, then it might be nice to have one guy take one and the other take that part. So we'll look at them separately, but if you want to put them together, then go for it. So we're actually in the same position as we were in the verse. Still this C chord, and we've still got this sort of rock and roll riff thing happening. So same fingering again. Index finger 8th fret on the E string, middle finger 10th fret on the A string, and then your little finger can go 12th fret on the A, and then it can stretch up to the 13th. And all we do is play the chord. We'll play these two strings together. Okay, that's what we're doing. So start off, it's 10 and 8 together, and then it's 8 and 12, and then it's 8 and 13. Okay, and then after that it switches chord, it just comes up a string. Okay, so this time we're in F. So it's 8th fret on the A string, 10th on the D, and then 8 and 12. And then 8 and 13. Okay, so that is the chorus main part. If I play that slowly. Okay, and for the rhythm of that, I mean, it really follows the vocal, so it's like walk this way, talk this way. Okay, so that's how you get the rhythm for that. And then in between we've got this other chord here, which is kind of, I know it's a bit of a weird chord, but you could think of it as part of this, an F7 chord probably. But I might as well just give you the frets. So it's G string, 8th fret, B string, 10th fret, and then E string, 11th fret. So on its own, it sounds like a pretty nasty chord. But it's all kind of coming from maybe like a C Dorian sort of shape. But it's just a nice thing that goes in between. And you can do a slight bend on it as well to make it sound even more gnarly. All right, so either practice that against the track, okay? Or if you want, you can try and put both together. Right, so that's the chorus part. And after that, it goes back into the verse and the main riff parts. The only variation now is for the outro solo, the riff underneath changes a little bit. So instead of doing, it just changes to this. All right, and that's kind of where the guitar's going. All that sort of stuff going on. So what we've got there is almost exactly the same as the intro riff. So I'm just going to talk about the differences. So the first three notes, instead of being 0, 1 and 2 on the A string, it's 0 on the E string, 3 and 4. So we get, and then we're back into the normal. All right. And then we've got, instead of, we're doing a Hendrix chord up here. Which, if you're not familiar with what that is, it's also called E7 sharp 9, but very commonly known as a Hendrix chord. You used it a lot. So the frets are middle finger, 7th fret on the A string, index finger, 6th fret on the D, third finger, 7th fret on the G, little finger, 8th fret on the B. Okay, if you're not sure of that, there'll be a diagram on the site for that as well. So just click that link in the description, it'll show you that. So you're going to have to use that open E string, gives you time to get away from here and up to here. So if I do that nice and slow, it's 0, 3, 4 on the E string, and then 2 on the D, and then A, 0, 1, 2, then 2 again on the D, then open E, and then the Hendrix chord. So I'll play that together. Again, slower. Okay, that's the first time round. Second time round, it does this. Okay, so instead of doing a low E and then a Hendrix chord, it's just doing 2 A chords. So it sounds like this. Everything else is the same. Alright, so I'll put those two together. I'll do them fast and then I'll do them slow. So. Okay, and again I'm trying to alternate pick the and with a little bit of palm muting. So now I'll do it slow. Alright, so that's all the sort of rhythm guitar sections. So just take that, practice it lots and lots, maybe play along with the track and just get really comfortable with it, and then maybe move on to the solos, which will be in another video. So just remember, if you like what we're doing here, do subscribe to our channel for more of these kind of videos, and we'll see you next time.